guess speaking of quarterback prospects, moving into our next matchup, we got the Chicago Bears.
Oh man,
Who may be in the market for one of those, taking on the Los Angeles Chargers.
man, Bagent, there's been a lot of hype. There was this saying that the most popular quarterback for the Chicago Bears is the backup quarterback, right? That's how it normally is, and that's how it is right now. Tyson Bagent, very interesting person, has a lot of swag, has a lot of confidence, and I oftentimes hear right from quarterback gurus. They'll oftentimes say that for quarterbacks, confidence is like the number one attribute, maybe soft skill, right? More so of that you want out of your quarterback. And Badgett just like he resonates confidence to the T, right? So, yeah, his dad is like a big time like arm wrestling champion. Has been a public announcer to I think some of the CrossFit games or something. So owns a CrossFit gym, all that fun stuff. And he just like resonates, like he's like his own talk show basically. So, um, but yeah, he played, safe game manager. I think in this game, right, the key thing, well, like, are they going to be able to run the ball? I mean, and is Bagent going to be able to go downfield a little bit as well? He says he has the cannon, so I think the Chargers are going to test that here. I think the Chargers have a pretty good run defense, so that's where I'm like, they're going to stack eight men in the box for sure, and and kind of taunt for the Bears to beat them in passing, right? So that's definitely where I see like, all right, DJ Moore, he's got to get open there, and Mooney, Komet, like they all have to do their part in order for them to pull it off. And then on the defensive side, like Herbert and that Chargers offense, that's gonna be hard to keep intact. That being said, ever since Eberflus has taken over the defense, the Bears defense has been playing really well. They haven't been getting the pass rush, but they've been stopping the run, making teams one dimensional more so of, and then yeah, they've been able to take care of business. So all that being said, yeah, the Chargers 8.5 point favorites here. I'm gonna go with the Bears. Pulling off an upset, like a big major upset. Maybe I think this was a prime time game. Maybe I'm falling on the Badger like bandwagon here, seeing what biting on the hype, but I don't think I'm alone. I think like some other experts, quote unquote, have picked the Bears to upset here a little bit. But again, it's like both these two teams. I think they both have the same record, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're both 2-4, right? I think the Bears have 2 wins, and then Chargers have 2 wins. So it's like, and then the Chargers are an 8.5 point favorite. I understand that they have a lot more talented team. Like I agree, 100%, but they haven't been producing that much. Whereas the Bears, is like it can be argued that they don't have that much talent. But 2-4, yeah, actually not so bad. So I don't know. I feel like got to go with the confident kid. Maybe we'll go with the hot hand. Maybe he does pass, beyond like 20 yards or something like that to DJ Moore. Again, this Chargers defense, they have the worst pass defense in the NFL, I believe, from the yardage perspective. So it's like, yeah, I think they can get it done here. Maybe I'd love to see a little bit of quarterback controversy, especially for, podcasts and talk radio. So yeah, get some love in there for Tyson Bagent, and then yeah, Justin Fields. Let's see what happens, and let's get the conversation going.
Man, that is a hot take. Here's so I saw a meme the other day that basically has a boyfriend walking arm in arm with his girlfriend, and the boy in the shot is a Bears fan, and the girl he's holding the hands with is Justin Fields, and then he's looking backwards to check out Tyson Bagent's ass, and I'm like, like this is completely like a Bears fan thing. Like, a guy just like comes in to save the day and has like a very like par type performance, like Bagent did, like 160 yards passing with a touchdown. 20 yards rushing, and everyone's like losing their shit because they beat the Las Vegas Raiders at home. Even in convincing fashion. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's one game. Like, I'm not listening to Chicago sports radio. I'm not in the city, so I don't know what like the buzz is yet. But like, whenever I hear his name, it reminds me. It makes me laugh because I remember the movie The Animal with Rob Schneider, and the starting scene in the movie is an infomercial for Badger milk, and it's showing like a bunch of badgers getting milked, and like Rob Schneider's like, badger milk, and he's like drinking it and stuff, and like that's kind of how I see this quarterback being. Like, I think there's a lot of hype and like a lot of promotion around this guy, but at the end of the day, it's just like a cup of badger milk, and it's like, it's kind of gimmicky, man. I don't know. I mean, he was what you said, the D2 all-time passing leader, something like, but like it's D2, so it's like, there was 50 other D1 schools that were probably better than his D2 team that he didn't join at that point. And you know I guess all jokes aside, we know what the Bears' flaws are, especially on the defensive end. They're going up against one of the best passing offenses in football with Justin Herbert. Keenan Allen's looking great. I think Ekeler gets back into the mix this week. Josh Palmer's kind of stepping out as their number 2 now. The Chargers, for what it's worth, and like, I'm not thinking this is a lopsided affair. I don't think the Chargers are all that great, to be honest with you. I think they definitely are a very middling to subpar type team. I think they're capable of putting up points. They're also extremely capable of giving it up on the other side, which is what they've pretty much been doing this entire year. But I don't know. I think with Chicago, a lot of warts. I'm not fully buying in. I think a good performance against Las Vegas is one thing. I think going toe to toe against Justin Herbert in LA in prime time might be another thing. But I think Chicago puts points up on the board. You said 8.5 to the Chargers. Feels a little rich. I think you could probably take Chicago covering that. I might go with Los Angeles winning by 7 or less. So I'll keep it at that. Be respectable enough. But yeah, I don't know, man. I've got to hear. I'll just have to watch and see for myself what this kid is really about. And the thing is, like, do you want the Bears to win? Like, I don't know if I want the Bears to win. Like, for the rest of the year, let me give you a scenario. What if the Bears went on a streak somewhat with with Bagent and got to 7-10 or 8-9 somehow, some way? Like, is that an outcome you'd like to see as a Bears fan? Like, what would that really tell you, going into next season?
Man, this is definitely where, as a Bears fan, where it's like I'm looking forward to this off season just because it's like, all right, where are we going to stack up? If the Bears do go on a remarkable run, Bagent is like the second coming of Jesus, right? Like, he's Joe Montana and Tom Brady, like, all rolled into one. If they go on a roll, maybe they get like 9 wins or something like that, like go on a ridiculous run, right? And that kills our pick. The pick becomes like 15 or above, right? We still got the first overall pick, most likely, with the Panthers. We'll see what happens with what the Cardinals do. But I'm willing to bet, though, that if we get the number 1 overall pick, like, I think our most likely trade scenario is we trade with the Cardinals. We're able to get both. We'll go with that. I'm gonna say we're gonna get both of the Cardinals' first round picks there, and one of them is probably gonna be like top 5. I'm thinking, maybe top 3. And with one of those picks, yeah, we're able to get a Marvin Harrison Jr. Again, I'm just ideally speaking, a Marvin Harrison Jr. And then with the later first round pick, maybe we are able to get an edge rusher of some sort. Jared Verse, he's been falling down a little bit there, not having the best production so far. So maybe we're able to get a player like him who has a lot of the skill set upside that you want in an edge rusher, which the Bears definitely need. So a player like that, or some other edge rusher out there. I mean, that would be the ideal scenario, I think, if we're like, okay, Bagent's the deal. Bagent's the real deal. Or, I don't know, Justin Fields comes back and he just, like, continues lighting it up, right? That could be something. But, yeah, I think I wouldn't mind the Bears winning, again, because of that first overall pick that we have, likely, again, with the Panthers. So, if that means, we lose off of Marvin Harrison Jr. or I think Joe Alt or some other like top tier player in this pretty deep draft, I would say. So I'd be open to it. I'm going to be against it if it means a couple of dubs here, a little bit of excitement. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like with that first overall pick, we can do a lot with that.
Okay, if they win 9 games, like you're saying, that means they're going 9-1 for the rest of the year.
Oh yeah.
8.
Oh yeah, if they go on a ridiculous run, yeah.
If they go so if they win 9-1, like of course you're sticking with Tyson Bagent if that's the guy who got you there, or if it's Justin Fields or whatever else it is. Like, we're completely punting on quarterback then. This is completely unlikely. Like there's
yes,
like very little hope or expectation that something even close to that would even happening. So like in a more realistic scenario, would you rather have them winning 5? Would you rather have them, potentially going here, let's call it 5-5 for the rest of the year, getting into 7-10, or would you rather see them being like, 4-13, 3-14, just so you can get that little bit higher of a seed? Would you rather see some of that progress in winning football games and like taking some strides here, or would you rather, not be maybe in the 10 to 15 slot in draft? In our own draft pick, or would you rather be like in the top 5 in our own draft pick?
Yeah, well, if we're the 4-win team, right, that most likely means then, and it seems kind of like a little bit towards that way, that Justin Fields is not the person, so we will be moving off from him. Drafting Caleb Williams with the first overall pick, again, most likely. Also Tyson Bagent is in the second coming of Tom Brady / Joe Montana. Brock Purdy. Yeah, so and then that gives us, just the other first round pick. So we get Caleb Williams, and then if we are still able to get Marvin Harrison Jr., he would be my first probably pick there. I'm kind of torn between. I think there's several other defensive ends out there. I would definitely lean on edge rusher. We need defensive pass rush right now. Like, I think we're last in the league still with regards to sacks, and that's definitely a big I think blind spot for us. So I think I was talking about Jared Verse before. My ideal pick, at least what I'm seeing, is Dallas Turner. I think he's looked the best. Had this is I definitely have been looking into this a little bit, but I think him, and there's also the Penn State guy, but I think preference would be Dallas Turner from Alabama. 8 sacks his freshman year. Didn't have the best sophomore year, but now his junior year already has 8 sacks. So like he's been killing it. The Bama team maybe not as much, but at least he's doing his part there on the defensive end. Physical specimen, like your quintessential type of edge rusher. So like be perfect, stick him in there within our team. Maybe we are able to sign or trade for, I don't know, Chase Young or whomever, solidify the defensive line. Caleb Williams. And then I think we have a decent, wide receiver core, at least at the time being, with DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, right? Mooney, if we still have him. I think that's enough, I feel like, especially if we reset the clock a little bit, right? With Caleb Williams getting that rookie contract. So I think that could be enough for the wide receiver room. Maybe we do draft one in the second round, that kind of thing, if we're not able to get Marvin Harrison Jr. So I'll be much more I'll be much more favorable on that, again, if we, get 4 or 5 wins or something like that. But yeah, otherwise, I don't mind a couple wins. Like, it's not so bad, man. Like, what do you think?
My only thing is, I'm a little bit nervous now at the top end of the draft for quarterback, based on what I've been hearing about Caleb Williams, his desire to be a partial owner, his desire to be handpicking where he goes. I mean, it's starting to get to this point with him and what he's been saying, what him and his agent perhaps are saying, where I'm starting to question his priorities. I'm starting to question, like, is this guy a good team leader? Is this guy potentially going to be a good teammate? Or is this guy really all about himself and really all about his money, his fame, his, attention, accolades, things like that? And like, that worries me, man, especially when, for somebody who's like the Heisman, you know, uh, winner of last year, having some struggles. I would, for his caliber of quarterback to be like losing some games, against Notre Dame. I've seen the stat lines being kind of mid tier in my opinion. It's like there's some like leadership qualities and things that I don't think will cope well with being in Chicago and being the Bears face of the franchise. Him walking into a situation like that and being the guy you need to get you on the right track, like that worries me a lot. So, yeah, I mean, for me personally, like it's frustrating, man. Like I thought we missed out in this last draft on how we went about our draft and how we went about prioritizing who we were picking in each slot. Because the second we didn't pick Jalen Carter, that led to a slide on us, just like then going position by position, targeting just the next best available guy at the position versus like taking the elite talent off the board and then just letting the draft kind of fall to you. And I like Darnell Wright. I think he's going to be an anchor on that offensive line. I just felt like order of operations could have been a little bit different. You grab Jalen Carter, you get somebody who's comparable to a Darnell Wright in the second round, and then allow that to just kind of play its way out. I feel like some of the talent we've gone after, especially on our front four, has been pretty questionable in the second year of polls, and the free agency pursuits of all the linebackers, shelling out top dollar for them, and really again not addressing the front four is kind of like, man, we're not in the 90s, we're not in the 2000s, things like that. So like what you're saying about prioritizing defensive line in this draft, like super important. I'm a little nervous about that quarterback slot, so I'd love to do what you're doing. Like, give me a 2-for-1 in the first round. Give me a 1 first rounder this year, a first rounder next year. Like, let's figure this out. Let's multiply that draft capital, get more picks for our money. I don't know what Caleb Williams will be. I have to watch more tape. I have to see more game action with him. I want to see how the CFP goes for him, see how he plays in big games against big teams. If they actually get there, it's just, yeah, man, I don't know. All this stuff kind of worries me, especially after we've had this discussion about, do you load up on team or do you load up on quarterback? And man, it's a great debate.
I mean, to your point though, it's like, all right, Caleb Williams says, no, I do not want to go to Chicago, because of your history of developing quarterbacks, which is like fair game, fair enough. We'll trade you. Like that's surely with something like I don't understand. Like people forget that sometimes. We can trade Caleb Williams. A lot of people want Caleb Williams. We can trade the first overall pick. Like it's not like he's just like, oh, we draft him and he's not gonna like play for whomever. Like, no, we're gonna trade him and we can get a haul of picks, and we could probably do something similar to the GJ Moore trade that we had last season. So yeah, I think even if he doesn't want, like another scenario too, yeah, we trade him. I don't know if we want to get Drake May. It's like, do we want another, top 3 quarterback from North Carolina? I don't know. He's pretty good. Like, maybe he's a better. Like they're winning more at least. Like that was like, one thing about Mitch Trubisky. Like he was like 8-5, I think, at North Carolina. It's like you couldn't do any better, So, yeah, I think that's like one thing. Like maybe Drake May is more of a kind of what we're looking for. If that's the case, yeah, we trade down to 2, 3, still able to get, then maybe we get the next year's first overall or first round pick or something like that, or second or third rounder this year. That's something. Get load up on more talent. Like we don't have to draft a quarterback. Like we don't. So we can maybe Sam Darnold, right? Maybe he balls out in his couple games there in for the 49ers. We like it. It's like, yeah, that's good enough. We can get you, for somewhat cheap, right? And then, load up around him, get, maybe we get Joe Alt, right? Maybe we get Marvin Harrison. Like, I don't know. If we're going to get, an edge rusher and Marvin Harrison, like, I don't know. I feel like I could live with that. I could live with that if we're able to, get the top players in those positions in this year's draft. or this coming year's draft. And then, maybe we take a flyer and get Sam Darnold or whomever. It doesn't have to be Sam Darnold. And then, wait till a next, a next world-changing, next Andrew Luck type of draft player, right? So I feel like that can always be a play. So, it's just, let's just be flexible. We don't have to put all our eggs in one basket. We don't have to draft somebody for the sake of drafting a quarterback first overall pick, especially if they don't want to play for the Bears and, participate with us and want ownership and things like that. Like, let's move on from that and just draft like, I don't know, Marvin Harrison Jr. or like Dallas Turner from Alabama or whomever.
Yeah. If it comes down to us going that route, then there's no question I'd bring back Justin Fields and Bagent, the combo, and just seeing what happens because, you start tinkering around with some of these mid-level journeyman guys, like what's the point? So I don't know. So, overall, we're still in a very frustrating position as a franchise. And it's like, man, the clarity, the light at the tunnel, like I'm not seeing it. It hasn't shown this year just yet. It's made this year even more confusing. And man, I don't know. Fun times being a Bears fan as always.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool. It is interesting that like Poles really didn't address the defensive line. Like that was like my biggest thing. I was like, why didn't you like address it as much? Like he signed a couple free agents here and there, but they're like, I don't know, C plus. Like they're more like depth type of signings. I felt like, and we're seeing kind of the things kind of come to fruition with the lack of pass rush, and we drafted Zach Pickens and Javon Dexter, right, but no edge, and those players really haven't shown too much, at least to this point. Rookie season and all. So I don't know. It's just like I thought you were supposed to like Ryan Poles. I thought you were supposed to be like building it through the draft, and the draft picks that you've had, like I don't know, they're all right. Like nothing too special at the moment. So Kyler Gordon, could have got Pickens. Also, trading away the first pick in the second round, right? Although technically first round pick for Chase Claypool. Like, I don't know. You got to be held accountable for some of those choices there. So, but like you're mentioning, Darnold's been, pretty good so far. So,
yeah. I mean, you still got some cap flexibility here. This next year will be a very telling year for him. It's like it's time. It's time. Like you got to start putting some of your chips forward. You can't keep kicking the can down the road and like falling back on. We're trying to lose games to get good draft capital, and then we're trying to save our money for the right guys to come. Like it's a great way of keeping your job for more years, but man, at some point it's like you got to nut up or shut up. And this offseason's it.
You can't lead us on. You gotta commit. You gotta put a ring on it. You can't just be like, maybe next year I'll do it. Maybe when I get that promotion I'll do it or something. Like, no, do it. Like just do it,
It's time. It's time to do it.